What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bird Rights Podcast. We're going to try and do these game recaps after every one of these conference finals and finals games coming up in the next few weeks. Game one of Lakers Nuggets literally just ended like 10 minutes ago. Um, so we have a little bit to talk about here. You know, a great Jokic game, great AD game. Looked like a Nuggets rout, but the Lakers hang around and get back in it. And I'll let Covahey start off here with his initial thoughts on the game.
All right. What a game. I mean, it like you were saying, it looked like it was going to be a Denver blowout, but it was just like slowly but surely they were just kind of working their way back in the game, and they made a nice adjustment to put Rui onto Jokic near the end, and it forced some awkward possessions for Denver on offense, which made the game very close near the end, but they were able to pull it out because it was just too much of a lead to overcome. But I mean, to talk about some of the performances, like, I mean, you kind of do have to start with Jokic. Like, I definitely am pretty open about my fandom, but like it's pretty hard to deny like the numbers that this man is it's like putting up like routinely. I mean, he just is like breaking records every time. You double him, he immediately finds like the open cutter, the guy in the corner that the defense leaves open. If you put him one on one, it's really hard to defend him. Like he just seems like it's at this point it's like a surprise if he misses the shot, like from anywhere, like from three, from two. Like it's surprising when he misses. And how many guys like you can say that about like with that much confidence? I mean, 34 points, 21 rebounds, and 14 assists. He kind of did have a bit of a slow fourth quarter, but the pace that he put himself on for the previous three quarters made it impossible to have a bad game. And I didn't think he was bad on defense. I mean, AD did have a pretty solid amount of points, but if you're saying like,
40. He had 40. We
yeah,
don't have
40,
to.
yeah, yeah. I wasn't trying to undersell him. He had 40.
Yeah.
Like not like Jokic was like great on defense or anything, but
Yeah.
AD was doing a lot of work. He also was 11 for 11 from the free throw line, which is very good for him and very good in general. And that's how he got all those points too. So, um, looking around at the stat sheet, I think LeBron had a solid game. AD was their best player for sure. Reeves balled the fuck out. He was hitting some huge threes there down the stretch. He's gonna get a lot of money. D'Lo was very poor. He was a minus 25
That's
in
impressive.
in a game that they lost by six. And the next worst plus minus was a minus eight. And I will say when that's not the best stat in the world, but that's a pretty glaring differential, you got to say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
the
they gotta
Nuggets
they're
entire starting lineup
real
was in the
quick,
plus.
real quick on that. The Lakers obviously found something with the three forwards instead of three guards lineup with Rui in there, and D'Lo was just the guard who found himself out of the rotation there.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
When the
that's where
runs,
the plus minus went down. But there's a reason, in fact, because you're not going to bench Reeves, and you'll end up choosing between Russell and D'Lo to close.
yeah,
Sorry,
when the
not
Lakers
Russell and
made their
D'Lo,
run
Dennis and D'Lo.
Lakers made their run when D'Lo was on the bench.
Yeah,
He ended up playing less minutes than Rui, which
yeah,
is not that many more than Lonnie Walker either. But yeah, Denver, their starting lineup pretty much dominated. Murray was the only one that wasn't at least a plus 11, but the bench was very poor all around. And yeah, I think I said most of the stuff I wanted to say. So you
yeah.
can.
Yeah, I think we're in for a long series here. I think these teams have some interesting wrinkles they can throw at each other. I think the Lakers found one. I would be stunned if Rui Hachimura doesn't start game two. I said this on the last pod. I was clamoring for that to be the start in game one. I understand going with what works and not doing that immediately, but you need the size. If I don't know if people remember that Sixers Nuggets game in February. What they did was they put Tucker on Jokic. Not that Tucker's gonna stop Jokic, but that so Embiid can help off. I think the biggest myth in today's NBA is one-on-one big man defense. That's not a thing. That's not a thing anybody does. Rudy Gobert
Yeah.
doesn't do it. Anthony Davis doesn't do it. Steven Adams doesn't do it. Nobody does it. The best way to guard an elite big man is to have another strong guy guarding him and then having your best actual rim protector there to help on whoever the weakest shooter is in the lineup. So
Yeah, we
for the
saw it in that
Lakers,
first quarter.
yeah, yeah, we saw it with Rui. Rui, who's Rui's bigger than people think. He's like 6'9", 260. He's a strong guy. Not that he can't, he's not facing up and stopping Jokic from getting looks, but he is holding firm and then funneling him to Anthony Davis, which was really working in the fourth quarter. And Rui's kind of the perfect body for that. Tucker even is a little too small for that. Like what the Lakers did in 2020 in the bubble was it was Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis. That's what it took to slow down Jokic. That worked. And that was before Jokic was quite what he is now. But
He was
if it
still
was
good, but nowhere near the level that he is on.
the ideal in the perfect world, the best way to probably slow down Nikola Jokic is um, having Steven Adams and Anthony Davis. Adams to guard up and Anthony Davis to roam off and be that help defender. And I think that's going to be their path to maybe winning game 2 here or any games of the series. They're going to have to play another forward, whether that's Rui or Vanderbilt. I think Rui's got the better body for it. But Denver will surely adjust back to that. There's some stuff you can do with Bruce Brown in the lineup, maybe instead of Gordon, right? Because that's a harder guy to help off of. Not that Gordon can't shoot, but he's a low volume 3-point shooter. He's a guy that if he's going to beat you making 5-6 threes in a game, 4, 5, 6 threes, that's going to have to be the way you lose the game, and the Lakers will live with that
Yep.
because this offense is unstoppable, and you have to give up something. That's just how it works with great offenses. So that wrinkle, I think, will make this a much more competitive series than if the Lakers they were going out there with Dennis, D'Lo, and Reeves was never a viable strategy against this big of a team. Even the ancillary effects of that is, instead of having LeBron on Porter for most of the game, it was Reeves, and he was just shooting over him half of the game. So that was never going to work. So I'm glad Ham adjusted quickly and figured that out. Just a side note on this game, it was one of the most absurd shot making games I've seen in a while. Kind of like some of those Denver Phoenix games where it's like the shot at the end of the third quarter that Jokic had, the one Murray had at the start of the fourth, some of those AD turnarounds, some of those Reeves threes. KCP couldn't miss. It felt like everyone was shooting well. We won't get that every game in this series, but there's a lot of talent in the series between the two sides. And I think, I don't know, maybe we'll get another game like that. I don't think we're getting 132, 126 every game, but I think the defenses will tighten the screws a little bit. But yeah, I think that the Davis Jokic round 1 did not disappoint at all. We're getting guys like Max Kellerman on TV talking about how LeBron's still the best player in the world, and I love LeBron. I'm a LeBron guy, have been for a long time. I think he's the best player of all time. If not that, he's the second best. I don't care to argue it.
It's not that important.
He's not the best player on the team. It's Anthony Davis by quite a bit. Anthony Davis is playing in the playoffs, is playing like one of the 3 or 4 best players in the world. He played like that tonight. Outside of the first quarter where he was getting kind of bodied on the boards and out hustled, I think they were kind of getting used to running in the altitude. He had a great game.
Was one assist away from a triple double, like in the most sneaky way like possible. But
everyone showed up offensively. Everyone. Murray had 31. KCP
Russell.
Yeah, except Russell. Rui had 17 off the bench, and he'll start the next game surely.
Vanderbilt didn't do anything on offense, but he doesn't tend to.
Yeah.
Just looking at the box score.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can talk again unless you have something to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the fourth quarter, to go along with the Rui thing that the Lakers found, they were also just, like they did against the Warriors, just hunting Murray and pick and roll. Which that's what LeBron teams tend to do at the end of games, and it was working.
Especially when he was in foul trouble.
Yeah, especially when he was in foul trouble, they were getting downhill and getting at the rim, and they were getting good looks there. But I definitely think the 3 forwards is the only logical path forward for the Lakers, and it'll be interesting to see what happens in game 2. It's going to be incredibly tough for the Lakers to steal one in Denver. Denver is such a hard place to play. They've lost 4 home games all year when Nikola Jokic plays. 4. That's insane.
That is pretty good. Like, it's one of the most formidable places right now for another team to come in and try and upset the 1 seed in the first place.
Yeah.
So I guess just I feel like we're beating a dead horse at this point, but yeah,
Mhm.
Jokic is just like insane at this point. He just casually just like drops like a 30-point triple double like every and it's not it
The
wasn't like it was 30 10 and 10. He like 30
yeah,
20 and like 15 or like what? And
the Jokic,
he
yeah,
sat for 6 minutes
yeah.
and
They
the bench
matched.
the
Yeah.
minus 16.
Yeah, the Jokic hoops IQ stuff is crazy. They'll when they had AD on him and they were running these small lineups, you could just he's getting the ball at the free throw line, tiny windows for these back cuts that he's making passes into, getting his guys easy looks. He's getting KCP easy looks, finding Michael never passed the ball, Michael never swing to Rock Porter open looks from three.
Yeah,
It's
Michael had a good game.
it's impressive to watch. I was a Giannis is the best player in the world guy. Jokic is winning me over. Um, and if they win the finals or something like that, obviously it's unquestionable to me that he's the best player in the world. But as of right now, my opinion is already that he's the best player in the world.
Yeah, like if someone says
Um,
that Giannis is better, like I'm not gonna like disregard it too much. Like Giannis has
yeah,
a track record in the postseason,
yeah,
um, has the ring and just like Nicola's trying to do right now. But I think it's gonna be really hard for most people to deny it. If he like averages like a 30-point triple double for a whole postseason and wins the ship, like I don't know anyone's gonna be left at that point.
yeah.
He's carving out a path right now.
Yeah.
One of the best to ever do it.
Before we wrap up, as quick little video. But before we wrap up, any thoughts on the series moving forward? How we think thoughts on Game Two specifically, maybe, and what we foresee happening there.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough with the altitude again, but they'll be a little bit more used to it. They can't get just completely like dominated at the beginning like they did. Like it was hard to watch. They were just getting out hustled, outplayed, like in almost every department, even by like like a 7 foot, like 300 pound man, like outrunning them. But they seem to kind of catch up to that by the end of the
Mm-hmm.
game, and they were holding their own. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers took one, but maybe I don't know. The way Denver has been almost like perfect at home, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Um, they're obviously gonna have to take one at home, I think, to win the series. That's where I would lean.
But
Um,
they definitely will. That's how math works. They can't win three games and win the series.
yeah, that's true. I don't even know why I like said it like that, but yeah, they will have to find a way to get one in LA. I mean, in Denver, if they're gonna do it. Yeah, there was an incredible game, just like so much offense.
Yeah.
It didn't even feel like the defense was that poor. I mean,
I mean,
of
I
course, when
really,
both teams shoot over like 50, what, yeah, 55% for both teams.
yeah,
Like the defense isn't great in that situation, but damn.
yeah. I think, I don't want to. The defense, I think, was better than the shooting numbers indicate.
Yeah,
I don't want to
I
make it
agree.
sound like they teams weren't getting good looks, like the Lakers were getting good looks, and the Nuggets were getting good looks. Um, I do feel like Denver, maybe a little bit more, but the Lakers were making some tough shots too.
Yeah,
But Denver made some of the most ridiculous shots I've seen all year. Murray had like three or four hanging fadeaways. I know he's good for one or two of those a game, but
he's
like
good in the post.
yeah, absolutely, he's great in the post. But like late shot clock, top of the key, hang over his right shoulder kind of stuff, and then obviously the Jokic three.
That
Some of that
Jokic
stuff
three
was
was just, I mean, it just at that point it felt like what are you even supposed to do? Like it just felt
yeah,
like it was just like
and that was huge.
unguardable.
Huge. I
Yeah,
mean, the Lakers that ended up being a huge deal. Lakers were down.
yeah. It's kind of a
Lakers were.
momentum killer, and then obviously 3 points in Denver's favor.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers were down three late in that game. That absolutely changed the game.
Yep.
And it was a big shot. But I think the biggest question for Game Two is not if Rui starts or not. If he doesn't start, Darvin Ham needs to be interrogated and
He
questioned.
was easily their
Yeah,
probably
he'll be
third or fourth best
starting
player.
just for even if like people like he had a great scoring game today. And first of all, I think he can do that because he's going to be guarded by Michael Porter Jr., who isn't exactly clamps. Um, he can score a little bit. He's not going to be this efficient, but he can score a little bit. Even if he doesn't, he's become an underrated defender, and his body is the best body they have to guard Jokic. So he'll be starting. I don't think that's the interesting question. Obviously, Reeves is going to stay in the lineup. I think the more interesting question is is it Russell or Schroeder as the starting point guard for that game? Um,
I feel like it should
I
probably be Russell, but I don't know.
I
Maybe you
I
know
I
better.
think they'll go Russell. I don't have a strong opinion on this. But I would be kind of intrigued to see if maybe they'd go Schroeder for the defense and then get Russell as kind of the sixth man, run the offense a little bit off the bench role, which I
Yeah.
wouldn't hate at all. Um, but at the same time, I D'Lo can be frustrating, but he's been overall pretty good in the playoffs. I think he's averaging like 15 and 5 on 45-35 shooting splits, which is respectable. That's good starting point guard numbers. His three is not going quite as much as you'd like, but it's falling enough. And he creates offense pretty well. So I think that's probably the way they go. And then ultimately, who starts is not as important as who closes. And like today, it was Schroeder. Um, Hell, if Lonnie Walker's got it going and he's playing engaged on defense, maybe it's him sometimes. Um, or shit, I toyed with the idea of
Tristan
I want them to
Thompson.
no, not Tristan. I was going to say Vanderbilt with that big lineup because Vanderbilt can guard guards. If you're going to really want to overwhelm them with size, Reeves and four forwards, Reeves and LeBron, Vanderbilt, Rui, and AD. I think you'll see that lineup once or twice, and it'll be interesting to see how that fares. Um, but I wouldn't call game two a must win for the Lakers. It's a pretty big, like, you obviously you want to win playoff games. You want to not be down 0-2, but I think they can still win the series if they don't win game two. Because I think they can handle business at home. As great as Denver's been at home, they've been below average on the road, to say the least. They dropped one to Minnesota. They dropped two to Phoenix, and I think LA is a far superior team to both those teams. They were also not great on the road in the regular season either. I'm going to check that real quick. What was Denver on the road in the regular season? Yeah, they were 19-22, which
Yeah,
is
it couldn't have
which
been
is
that good
not
when you look at
great.
their home
Yeah,
record.
which is not great. So I wouldn't call it a must win. Um, with that said, I expect this to be kind of a back and forth series. I think I would pick the Lakers to win game two. Um, and I honestly, I think Denver maybe steals one in LA. It just I think I don't think the Lakers have to win game two, but obviously it's pretty kind of, common sense. Uh, you're in pole position if you're up 2-0 in any series, but I don't think it's as much of a must win as say like you know obviously if a team drops game one at home, it's kind of a must win to win game two because then you're really pulling. But we'll see. I think there's some interesting adjustments to be made. I'm excited to see where this series goes, and hopefully more performances like this from Jokic and AD, and we get some entertaining stuff.
Yeah, AD was looking great on both sides. He scored way more points than I thought he was going to. And then Jokic is definitely having one of the best offensive peaks that we have seen in a very long time.
He's
Like,
he's he's the best offensive engine. Um, I mean, we'll take LeBron out of it because LeBron has had a weird, ridiculous career. He's comparable to like 2016 Steph as an offensive engine, where he's just this hyper efficient. You have to Everything revolves around him. It's not that he's heliocentric, right? It's not that he's dominating the ball or anything like that. He's just this. He's in the middle of the offense, running everything through him. It's so impressive. Anthony Davis is about as good of a matchup as you could hope for him, and it didn't matter. You need two guys to stop him, but you can't double him. That doesn't make sense, but it's true. It's what it
yeah,
means.
it's like if MVP Steph was just like over and over and over again, basically. And if
Yeah,
somehow he steps up like massively in the playoffs, like we know Jokic is already great in the regular season, but the playoff Jokic that we keep seeing is like he keeps like one upping himself. I'm not even sure how he does
12.
that.
Yeah, 12 of 17, too. 3 of 3 from three.
Yeah, I
34,
mean,
21, and
he had
14
twice
shooting.
as many points as he had shots. Like that's
I'm in all.
insane.
It's stupid. I'm in all of it. It's a ridiculous line.
Yeah,
Uh,
we'll see.
I
I
think
mean, if he can keep doing this, but
I would pick the winner of this Western Conference series to be whoever comes out of the East. I think there's the size is going to be tough for either of those teams out of the East to handle, but we
I
can cover
mean,
that another time. We'll be back with a Miami recap, a Miami Boston game one recap tomorrow. I will probably be there. Not sure if Covahey will be. I'm sure Jason will be there.
To be
Hopefully
decided.
happy. Um, but yeah, that wraps it up for our game one recap. Catch you guys next time. Peace.